Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today we have learned some new details regarding the Commander mode in Battlefield 4. DICE released a very extensive article where they explained a bunch of the new key features that we can expect as playing as the Commander, and just to kind of get things started, we now know that they are going to have a ridiculous amount of tools at their disposal. Like, they will have a huge arsenal if they play it correctly, where they can not only kill the enemy team, but they can also assist their squads and their teammates, their allies, to push up onto objectives, give them intelligence that they need to hopefully take those objectives and then eventually win the match. So the Commander starts off with a basic set of tools that will always be at their disposal. It doesn't matter how well their allies are doing, it doesn't matter how many objectives they hold at that time, it doesn't even matter how well the Commander is doing. As long as they hold the position as the Commander, they will always have these tools. And this includes a UAV, an EMP jamming device, and a cruise missile warning system. The UAV is pretty self-explanatory. You guys probably already know how this functions. It's going to be flying up in the sky. The Commander can place this down on an objective. I'm assuming they can actually place it down anywhere, and any enemy within its vicinity is going to show up on the minimap. This is going to be extremely useful if a team or a squad is trying to take an objective. They can tell the Commander, or the squad leader can tell them to place this down, and then they can clear everyone out that's around the objective and then hopefully take it. The EMP, I believe, is the counter to the UAV. So if the enemy Commander sees that a UAV is plopped down and they need to assist their allies out, they can place the EMP jamming device directly where the other UAV is and then completely nullify it. And then I'm also assuming that even normal spotting isn't going to function in that area as well. So that's also going to be a very potent tool. And then there's going to be the cruise missile warning system. If you guys saw it during the E3 demonstration, you'll know that the cruise missile is extremely powerful. Like, anything that's caught within its radius isn't going to last very long. Tanks, infantry, they're all going to be blown to smithereens. I mean, a cruise missile is a gigantic rocket. Like, it is huge. And so everyone within the vicinity is going to die. And so the cruise missile warning system, pretty self-explanatory. If the Commander is paying attention and they can see that the enemy is about to launch one of them around an area, they can tell their allies to duck for cover, to get behind a building or to get inside of a building, get just away from the vicinity of the blast radius so that they don't die. You know, you don't want your teammates to die. And so it's kind of like a counter thing where if the Commander is paying attention to what the other one is doing, they can assist their allies from meeting a very explosive demise. So those are all the basic ones. Those are the ones you will always have at your disposal when you are in that position. But then there are ones that DICE are calling main asset loops, and these are unlocked by taking key objectives around the map. And so as a Commander, you won't really have any influence on this. You'll be able to tell the squad leader that you may want to go tack this objective that will unlock one of these, but it will always be up to the people on the ground to get this for you. But when they do, you are going to have some pretty powerful tools at your disposal. The first one is the cruise missile. We already talked about that. It's a gigantic rocket that you can fire at a key location to blow everyone up. Like, it is extremely devastating. But then there will also be two different types of scans that you can unlock. There will be an infantry one and a vehicle one. And I believe the way that they function is that, let's say you scan for infantry units, it will scan the entire map and showcase the exact location of every single infantry unit. Like, that is a huge amount of information, not only for you as the Commander, but for also everyone on the ground. And so while it won't be as flashy as, let's say, the cruise missile, which will give you direct kills, it will give your allies on the ground just a ridiculous amount of information that they can use to potentially get you more kills than what, let's say, a cruise missile. So I can already tell that these scans are going to be very potent. And then there is the AC-130, and imagine that this is going to function very similar to the way it does in Battlefield 3, but instead of spawning at a key or a set time, the Commander will place it down over a location, and then their allies can spawn on in it and just rain death down upon everything on the ground. We haven't really gone into or seen any details on how this is going to be balanced. As you guys know, in Battlefield 3, the AC-130 was one of those vehicles that DICE really struggled with. They weren't really sure how to balance it. It went through multiple phases and multiple nerfs and buffs. Like, it went through a lot. And so it'll be interesting to see how this works out. This is one of the things I'm a little worried about. I never liked the AC-130 in Battlefield 3, and I'm a little concerned that this one in particular may be a little bit too devastating. But the fact that we already know that the engineer is going to have a lot more weapons, a lot more gadgets and rockets at their disposal, maybe it won't be a problem. We'll just kind of have to wait and see. And then we have something that DICE is calling squad loops, and these are going to function and unlock very similar to the way that field upgrades work, where when the commander does a team-based action, he is going to get points for that, and then those points will go towards these assets. And there's going to be 4 different tiers, 1 through 4. And the way that DICE describes it is that once you reach a certain tier, so let's say you get to rank 2, you can activate that asset, but you're going to go back to square 1. And so it's going to really leave it up to the player to decide, do I want to use these assets, these squad loops, quickly to give my team a quick boost, or do I want to wait to the very last tier, the 4th tier, to unlock that and give my allies a huge boost? The assets that they have right now is Squad Promotion, which will boost the squad members' individual field upgrade bars towards their next unlock, a Vehicle Drop, which will deploy a quad bike or a light boat depending on the terrain. The third one, which I think is awesome, is Rapid Deploy, which will cut the squad spawn time in half for a fixed period of time. And the last, the largest one, is the Supply Drop, which will deploy a large crate which will heal, resupply, repair-friendly units, and also allow allies to switch their kit. And what's really cool about this is that if the commander knows what he is doing, this can lead to some very interesting tactics. Let's say, for example, he scans the map for vehicles, like we talked about earlier. He identifies that the entire vehicle armada is heading towards a certain objective. He can place down a supply drop near the objective, allow his allies to quickly all switch to engineers. They all bust out their RPGs, and then all of a sudden that vehicle push gets nullified, and then once it does, everyone can switch back to their normal kit with that supply drop again. And so as long as the commander kind of has a basic understanding of what's going on and he's working with the squads, these loop assets are going to be pretty potent and can really swing the battle in your favor if used correctly. So I'm interested to see how that all plays out. Now, the final tool in the commander's arsenal is the ability to mark high priority targets. The enemy already has to be doing really well before you can mark them, so you can't just mark everyone or anyone on the enemy team. That would be a little bit ridiculous. But once they are doing really well, you have the option to mark them as high priority. And when you do that, you notify everyone on your team, and I believe everyone on the enemy team, that that person is now a person of interest. And once you take them out, I want to say you get points for doing that, but I also know that when you are playing as the mark target, it's not like you're just getting the chef. Like, it does suck that everyone now knows where you are and they're all going to be gunning for you, but if you can stay alive and you can continue to kill people as the high priority target, you're going to be rewarded more for that as well. So I like that addition. But what's cool about this, and I have a feeling where most commanders are going to take advantage of it, is to mark vehicles in particular. So like, let's say for example, a attack helicopter is destroying your team on the ground. Like, no one seems to be trying to take it out, even though they are just wrecking everyone. You can mark it as a high priority target so that everyone's eye is like, oh, okay, maybe that guy is doing really well. We should probably take him out and switch on over to an engineer. I would be kind of surprised if experienced commanders would mark infantry units more than vehicles, because infantry, you can take them out pretty quickly, and it's not like it really matters how well they're doing. But if someone's in a tank and no one seems to be trying to take it out, like, it's really important to identify that that target needs to drop. Like, they need to be out of that vehicle. Like, they're just doing way too much damage in it. And so I have a feeling, as I said, that the high priority targets or good commanders will probably mark people that are in vehicles. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about all these new features now that we pretty much know everything about the commander mode. Are you excited to get into this role? Are you maybe a little hesitant? Let me know down below in the comment section. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.